Should we get our guest online?
Let's do it. Okay, so
Tell me who Jerry is.
Jerry Brito is a very interesting guy. He can tell us more about what he does in his non-app making time, but he is the co-creator of the first Tumblr, which is Tumblr.com, which is sort of a microblogging service that we've talked about in the past. The first iPad created exclusively for the iPad Tumblr app. It's called Tumbleroo. And I think I'm saying that right because you could also sort of say Tumbleroo, but I'll say Tumbleroo. And it's kind of amazing to me that, first of all, it's a really nice app.
I love it.
It's almost more of an RSS reader than what your actual native Tumblr dashboard looks like, because the Tumblr dashboard is just sort of a one all inline stream of tumbles.
But you could also create
yes, absolutely.
Posts.
So you can do it from that left-hand rail there, or you can use your drop-down, which is up in the
They have a little thing here.
Yeah, there you go. And so if you press your settings button, it'll say, well, what do you want to make? You want to make a text post?
Oh,
Do you want
that's
to
neat.
do
So it does
photos,
support
video,
all the
audio?
different types.
Yeah,
One
so
of the
if you
neat
kind
things
of
about
like the email way of doing it, then you've got that option too.
one of the neat things about Tumblr is it has built in these templates for different types of tumbles. So you could have a text or whatever. We got Jerry on the line right now. Hi, Jerry.
Hello.
Welcome to iPad Today. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So is it Tumbleroo or Tumbleroo?
You know, my co-creator Peter Snyder and I sort of work independently. He's in Chicago. I'm in Washington, D.C. And I don't think we've settled on what it's called because we just sort of email back and forth about it. I call it Tumbleroo. I think I've heard him say Tumbleroo. So
even the people who wrote it don't know. How hard is it to write something like this? Is it a simple iPad app, or is it a hard iPad app to do?
Well, that would be a question really for Peter, who's a developer. I'm more of the designer. I sort of imagine what should be done, and he does it. But we tried to keep it as simple as possible and make it as native feeling as possible to the iPad, right? So it's a lot like the Mail app that you're used to. So in that respect, I think it's a little easier than if we had gone and tried to create a really custom look to it.
You're using built-in WebKit and stuff like that.
That's right, yeah.
Now, it's interesting you two are in different places. How did you work together in different locales?
Well, it's interesting. Pete and I met a while back. I wanted to create this web project, that had to do with the stimulus, with the recovery.gov website, and I put out a blog, sort of a call for volunteers, developers, and he just popped in and volunteered, and we worked on that together. And since then, we've been building things together, and we work over email, over the phone, chat sometimes, and it works great. We just send each other sort of mock-ups and what things are supposed to look like, and it works great.
So Jerry, it's interesting that this is the first Tumblr app for the iPad that wasn't actually made by Tumblr. Now, I have long ago decided to just use the Tumblr web interface, the mobile interface,
which works fine on
and
iPad.
give myself a little bookmark on my iPad, which works just fine, and it looks a lot like I would use it online anyway. So that's been working out for me. But what did you feel like Tumblr was missing that made you want to go ahead and make this app, knowing full well that Tumblr will probably come up with their own iPad app eventually?
I'm not sure if they are. I mean, they have the iPhone app, and it's really web-based. We wanted to give you something, again, that was really native feeling, so that when you created a new post, it didn't just bring up a web form, but actually brought up a pane that looks like what you would create a new email in, or some other sort of document. So we really wanted to give it a native feel, and we also wanted to make it really fast, and wanted to make it really easy for you to go from post to post in your dashboard and like the ones that you want to, and reblog really easily with really one click.
And I've seen that David Karp and the Tumblr staff gave you props on their staff Tumblr log. They said, hey, this is a great app. We love it. So that's always good. But it's like, how much does that factor into while you're making the app? Because you're going to make it, whether they would have made that post or not. How much does the approval of the company that you're obviously using and wanting to make look good factor into how your end product is?
Well, I mean, it means the world to us that they had no idea we were building this. When we got our iPads on the first day, Pete and I said, you know what would really be cool for this is a Tumblr app. And we started building it. And eventually, you know, on the day of launch that went up on the iTunes store, we just sent an email to them. And the response we got back from them was great. And so we're really happy about that. We really didn't think too much about what they would think about it. They provide an open API. They encourage developers to make third-party apps. And so we just took them at their word and ran with it. And their response has really been fantastic.
You're not sure that Tumblr is going to make an iPad app, or at least you're not sure that it's going to come out anytime soon. Let's say that they are, and it is. I mean, do you have to just, you put so much time and effort into this, you know, it's just you and your co-creator, and you just kind of say, hey, no matter what they put out and what they might be thinking and how the two apps might be different, what keeps you going knowing that the bigger company could steal your thunder?
That's true, and you know, and I imagine that if they put an app out, it would be free, which would definitely undercut us a bit. But we like the app that we built, and no matter what they do, I think I imagine that if they put out an app, it'll be similar to their iPhone app, and so it's going to be different from ours. Where theirs is going to be more web-based, ours is going to still have a more native feel, and I think folks might prefer that. So. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I think it's a great app. Ours is a great app, and it's going to stand on its own.
I like it.
So how did you decide your price point? Because Leo and I have talked a lot about this. What are the prices? You know, sometimes apps, we go, we love it, but why do they make it $5.99? Or why is it only $99? They could get so much more. How did you decide that?
I wish I could tell you that a lot of market research went into this, but honestly, we just sort of talked it over. You know, $4.99 sounded about right. At one point, we were flirting with something like $6.99, and I would show people sort of like an early development version of it, and they'd play with it, and they'd say, "Oh, this is fantastic! How much is it going to be?" And I'd say $6.99. They'd be like, "Oh." And, and as soon as I said, well, what about $4.99? They're like, oh, yeah, no brainer, definitely.
I think there's
some market research.
There's something about that $5. It seems to be a tipping point for a lot of people. I know it is for an app that I feel kind of ambivalent about. If it's $5 or under, I'm much more likely to download, and even if I don't end up liking it that much, just because it's kind of worth it. So yeah, I guess I'm not alone in that.
Yeah.
From the folks that you asked who weren't so crazy about $7, but $5 felt okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a little more than a latte.
So what else do you do? Because Sarah kind of hinted that you're not the typical developer.
This is like your side job, and you've got this whole other CV that's really different.
I know,
Jerry.
it's a little weird. This is sort of my hobby, but it's something I'm really passionate about. Is sort of developing software and websites. What I do for a living is I do policy research in tech and telecom here in Washington.
Oh, how interesting!
And
you're going to be very busy with this net neutrality stuff going on.
That's right. This is something that we've been writing about for quite some time. Yeah, I mean, you can check out our stuff if you go to surprisinglyfree.com or the Tech Liberation Front. You can see a lot of my writings on that topic.
Are you in a think tank, or what is the lobbyists?
Yeah. So we like to call ourselves a university-based research center because we
you're at George Mason. Okay.
That's right. Yeah. But we do act a lot like a think tank in many ways, in that we put out policy papers. I publish in law reviews. I sometimes testify before Congress, that sort of thing.
And you have a podcast that is surprisingly free.
Surprisinglyfree.com. You can check out the podcast there. As a matter of fact, I was running late for this. I'm glad that you guys are running late, because I was just interviewing Danny Sullivan.
Late.
Oh, Danny's great. Of search. Now he was Search Engine Land.
He is Search Engine Watch is what he used to be. Now he's Search Engine Land, and he'll be in the podcast on Monday.
Excellent. That's at surprisinglyfree.com.
That's right.
We could, from one podcaster to another, we can support you.
It's very interesting that you can have a day job, I guess, for lack of a better term, and really just do something completely different in, I guess, your free time. Really,
I'm a taxidermist in my free time. Did you know that? Yeah.
Wow. Well, see, again, very different than what you do during the day.
Sure, but if you ever have a rodent you want stuffed, you come to me.
Jerry, is this your first go at an iPad app? Have you ever done anything before?
Definitely. Yes.
I would like to see some government stuff. And I guess there is a lot of transparency and government stuff going on right now.
So actually, that's one of the areas that I focus on. And two of the sites, if I can tell you what they are.
Please do, yes.
openregs.com, which is a site that I developed with Pete, the co-creator of Tumbleroo. And this is a site that basically is a nicer interface to the government's regulations.gov site. And we also have an iPhone app for it. And Anish Chopra, who's the US CTO, has allotted us for this iPhone app.
That's fantastic. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you. And you can basically, what this allows you to do is to find any government agency and subscribe to a feed of it, so you can see what that agency is up to, or a topic even. So you can subscribe. So let's say you subscribe to the FCC, and you can see all of the all of the proposals that they're putting forth.
Jerry, I've got to ask you, because I'm a big Tumblr fan as well.
Yes.
And I assume that if you went through the trouble of making Tumblr's very first iPad app, then you probably used the service at great length. Who is your favorite Tumblr user? Or if if you can't choose one, who are your top 3?
Okay, top 3, because you can't just choose
I know.
one.
I'm totally putting you on the spot.
There is one person that I follow who I don't know, but I just think he's awesome, and his username is a little bit not safe for work, but is I was in the S. is one name. Another one is Never, Nevver.
Oh yeah, I follow Never too.
Never's very good. And there's a new one, a new person who I think it's a woman who is living in Spain, and her name is I Told You So Internet. And she's got some excellent stuff.
Internet.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'll have to check that one out. That one I don't know. Yeah, Tumblr is probably the service I use the most, where I know the fewest amount of people in real life.
That's true.
Even more than Twitter, because there's so much visuals being passed around, and I don't know. Tumblr is its own beast, so it's
you get to know somebody visually. You get to know what they like, and then you like it, and you ultimately start liking each other's stuff, and it's really neat.
I agree. It's a very unique service in that way, and it seems to have evolved also uniquely from the rest of social media. So thanks so much for creating Tumblr's very first iPad app. I hope you guys have a lot of success. Tumbleroo.
What's your Tumblr blog?
It's saralane.tumblr.com.
Sarah Lane. And what's yours?
Oh, it's Jerry Brito. JerryBrito. Okay.
And mine is Tumblroo. Tumblroo. And see, that's nice. So you can follow somebody's Tumblr blog. So that's kind of fun. I keep changing my template. I don't even know what I don't even know what my template is.
I just changed mine the other day. It was.
I'm going to put in a plug. We're doing an open government special on Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern at live.twit.tv. Tim O'Reilly and a bunch of great people are going to come in and talk about open government. So if you want to watch that at 5 Pacific this Friday, tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. It's Thursday.
And if you're watching this show later, you missed it. But we will have it on the Twit Specials feed.
Absolutely.
Twit.tv/specials. Jerry, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks so much for having me.
Great to see you.
Love the app.
Tumblroo.
Keep up the good work. Tumblroo. It makes me want to hop around like a kangaroo. I don't know.
It is. They should have a kangaroo logo.
It really is a good app. I always just kind of have to congratulate I don't want to say little guys, because they're not little guys, but you're not part of the company. You want to do something that viewers, that the Tumblr users like you and me are going to get something out of, and you go, let's do it. Let's do it. No matter what happens, we're doing it now, and they put out a good product, so kudos to them.